Alright, U.S. Security and Exchange Commissions, checking levels. Rules, Regulations, Security Exchange Commission, Majors and Miniature Security Laws, Part 200, Organization Conduct, Ethics, and Information Requests. General Statement, Statutory Authority, Secretary created in 1934 under the Security Exchange Act, transfer of the Commission Administrative Security Exchange Act 1933, formerly Administrative of the Federal Trade Commission, subsequent laws assigned the Secret Exchange Commission Administrative of the Trust Indenture 1939, Investment Corporate Company Act 1940, Investment Advisory Act 1940, in addition with the Bankruptcy Code Commission statutory party case under the Chapter 9 and 11, considered together with the laws and understanding of the Commission provided for the following: public disclosure pertinent facts concerning public offering security listed in the National Security Exchange, certain securities traded in over-counter markets, enforcement disclosure requirements soliciting proxy meeting security holders by companies whose secrets are registered pursuant to Section 12 Security Exchange 1934 subsidiary investment companies. C. Regulation trading securities, National Security Exchange, over-the-counter markets. D. Investigation, security fraud, and manipulation, other violation, imposition, enforcement, legal sanctions thereof. E. Registration, regulation, certain activities, brokers, dealers, investment advisors. F. Supervision, activities, mutual funds, investment companies, administrative with statutory standards, governing protective provisions of trust entered under the debt security sold of the public age protection interest, public investors involved in bankruptcy reorganization cases, cases involving adjustment of the debts of the municipality, administrative sanctions, injunctive remedies, civil money penalties, criminal prosecution. They are also private right action investors injured by violation action of the law. 202 statutory functions. Following with a brief description of commission functions under each of the statute administered with the Section Security Act 1933. Issuer securities making public offering sales interstate with the commerce with the mail directly with the other behalf of the required with the commission registration statement that contain federal other pertinent data about the user and offerings. Similar requirement provided with respect to such public offerings behalf of the control and person issuer upon unless a registration statement is in effect with respect to such securities unlawful sale of the securities in interstate commerce through the mail with certain limited exemptions, such as government securities, non-public offerings, interstate offerings effective in this registration statement that may be refused to suspended with a hearing statement contains material misstatement or omissions barring sale of securities until the appropriate omitted registration is not finded not a finding over the commission accuracy of the facts disclosed on lawful sale of the representative of the mover of the registration security does not imply with approval of the issue of the commission with insurer investors against loss over their purchase, but other serves rather to provide information upon the investor with make an informed realistic evaluation of the worth of securities. Person responsibility filing false information commission subject to themselves with the risk of fine imprisonment both the issuing company, the director, officer with the underwriter, dealers may be liable to damage or purchase of the registered security with a disclosure registration statement, prospectus, or material that affects with all statute containing anti-fraud provisions applied generally to the sale of securities not registered. Security Exchange Act of 1934 with the act requiring the following registration application annual with the other reports. National Security Exchange Commission company with whose securities are listed in the exchange annual and other reports of the must be filed about certain companies whose securities are traded on the over-the-counter market of the must have the certain financial all the data prescribed with commission information investors material misstatement or omissions with the ground suspension with withdrawal of security exchange trading act makes unlawful any solicitation proxy authorization content consents all contraventions of the commission rule of the rules required with the disclosure information about subject solicitation of security holders for the act required with the disclosure withholding transactions by officer of the director beneficial over 10% any of the class equity security of the certain companies required with the disclosure beneficial owners of more than 5% within class equity security of the registered company provides substantial for the procedural protection of the security holders of the third-party issue of the tender officer of the act provided with the Registration Regulation Commission, National Security Exchange broker the dealers engaged with the over-the-counter security business and with the National Association such brokers with the dealers give the commission and the rule-making power respect to short sales, stabilizing, floor trading activities or specialist odd lot dealers such matters exchanged with the trading with the exchange member the act authorizes board with the Governor Federal Reserve System to prescribe minimum marginal requirement listed in security. The Act of the Entrusted and Interact in 1939. Act safeguards of the interest purchase of the public offered Debt securities issued under the trust indenture with the requiring inclusion of certain protective provisions with the exclusion of certain type of the exculpatory clauses with the trust indenture with the act required with the independent trustee with duties with the representative of the debtors prescribed with a certain relation could have conflicted with the proper exercise of the duties. The Investment Company Act of 1940, the established comprehensive regulatory framework for the investment company subject to the activity regulation of the understanding prescribed for the protection of investors, among others, acted for the registration of investment company with the commission required with the disclosure of financial condition investment policy with the stakeholder with the prohibits with the substantial change of the investment policy with the shareholders prohibited investment policy without shareholder with the approval of the borrower person guilty with a security fraud from the serving officer of the director preventing underwriting of the investment bankers of the brokers for constituting more than minority of the director investment company required of the management contract submitted with the shareholder with the approval of the prohibited transaction between investment company with the director of the officer of the affiliated companies or persons except with the approval of the commission prohibited investment companies from issuing senior securities except on the specified with the term and condition. Act also regulates advisory fees, sales, pre-purchase securities exchange offered over their activities. Investment company with the act authorized the commission to exempt any of the person, class, or persons of the security from any provisions of the rules under the act of the conduct of the investigation deems necessary to determine existing potential violation of the act authorizes of the commission to prepare report security holders of the fairness of the plan of reorganization, merger, consolidation, commission of the may institute with the court action and joining acts practice of the management involved with, among other things, a breach of the fiduciary duty of the consummation plans of reorganization, measure of the consolidation, grossly unfair security holders. Investment Advisors Act of the 1940 person with a compensated engaged business advising other respect for the security transaction may register commission with activities conducted such business subject to the act which may unlawful the practice constitute fraud to deceive with the require with among other things disclosure interest that may have the transaction executed for clients acts grants with commission rule making power with respect to fraudulent other activities investment advisors. Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code, Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code, Title 11 U.S. Standard Code 1101, intent sequence provide commission per publication, participation statutory party, reorganization cause of Section 1109A, Bankruptcy Code 11, Title 11 U.S. Standard Code 1109A, which also apply with the Chapter 9 causes regarding municipal commission may arise, may appear, or may be heard any of the issue within the case. 210 the commission composed of 5 members, not more than 3, with a maybe the member with the some with the same political party, with the members appointed with the president with the divide with the consent with the Senate with the 5-year terms, one with the term ending each year with the chairman designated with the president pursuant with the provision Section 3 reorganization plan number 10 of the 1950 with the terms of the chairperson, chairman, chairwoman, likewise to be used interchangeably with the commission and assisted with the staff that includes lawyer, accountant, engineer with financial security analysis of investors, investigators, examiners, as well as administrative clerical employees. 2011 headquarters of Office of the Regional Relationship of the Division, Office of the Headquarters of 100 F Street with the Northeast Washington, D.C. 20549, have a commission with a wide responsible commission overall of the development, policy, technical guidance, policy, direction, operating programs under the jurisdiction. Each regional district director of the regional execution supervision, regional director workforce execution program, regional director's office is shown in the paragraph B with the section corner with the established policy with the reports of the enforcement man with the director with the deputy with the director with the division enforcement responsible for the regional with the office of enforcement matters on examination man with the director of the division of examinations. C with the geographical location set forth in paragraph B with the section determine the register of the broker, dealer, transfer agents, clearing agents, registered security assistance investment with advisors over the designated with the chapter of the reports required with the file with the regional office. 212 functional responsibilities set as for the ministry of the substantive of the responsibility of the division of the director of the heads of the regional of the directors over the commission officers, all commission officers of the staff members of the administrative of the law judges, inspector general shall perform an additional of the duties as set forth with the additional duties chairman over the commission may assign from the time to time with the officer through the liaison with the government other agencies concerned with the matter with the respect with the functional with the responsibilities. Chief of the operating officer of the chief operating officer responsible for developing and executing the overall management policy with the commission, the operating division, staff officer of the chief of the operation officer for his executive of the direction of the administrative control over the officer of the human resource of the officer of the acquisition officer of the financial management office support operation of the Edgar business office of the office of information technology. Chief operating officer appoints personal review with approve of the policy, proceed with the appropriate resources to implement with the program program set forth with the paragraph A of this section and authorize transmit with the reports required to them. Chief Operating Officer designated with the certified with the officer of the agent payment of the chief of the officer with the responsible in implementing goals of the chairman and with the mission with the commission with the provide overall with the organizational management, improve with the agency performance, assisting of the chairman in promoting ongoing quality, improve with the developing strategic plan, measuring result of the directing ongoing re-engineering with the commission with the ministry of the process, overseeing with the commission specific application, performance, the measure of the procurement, the reform of the personal reduction, financial management, improve with the telecommunication, information technology policy with the other government-wide systems with the reform of the commission management practices. Secretary of the commission and the secretary of the commission role for the preparation daily, weekly agenda of the commission with the business, the orderly, expeditious flow of the business, formal commission with the meetings, the maintenance of the official minute record of all action of the commission with the service of the instrument with the formal commission action with the secretary of the custodian official seal with the commission and also have the responsible for the authenticating documentation. Secretary of the designated with the responsible for the relating with the commission rules of practice of the administrative of the procedure of the commission statute with the other responsible. In addition, Secretary Administrative of the Commission Library, Director of the Office of the Public Affairs, the Director of the Office of the Public Affairs, Chief of the Public Information Officer of the Commission will receive the activity, communicate with the Commission, action with the interested, effective with the them, with the Directors responsible, including serve with the liaison with the news media, with the dissemination information of the news media, with the general public, the supervision, internal and some external with the publication, audio, visual presentation, representatives of the responsibility with the Director, staff that includes special project with the team, the purpose to communicate information with the mission action. Office of Administrative Law Judge with the Administrative of the Procedure Act with the Federal Security Laws with the Office of Administrative Law Judge with the conduct of the hearings proceeding with include with the Commission with the Administrative Law Judge responsible for the fairly orderly conduct with the proceeding with the authority to administer the oath and affirmation issue subpoena rules of the Officer of the Proof, examine the witness, regulate with the courts of the hearing with the whole pre-hearing conference with the rule upon motions unless way with the party with the prepare with the initial decision contained with the conclusion of the factual legal issue presented with the issue with the appropriated order. The Chief of the Administrative of the Judge perform the duty of the Administrative of the Law Judge, and the Administrative of the Procedure of the duty of the relay of the Chief of the Administrative of the Law Judge, with the Commission on the compatibility with the duty of the Chief of the Administrative of the Law Judge, with the responsible orderly function of the Office of the Administrative of the Law Judge, with the Law Judge, part with the conduct of the Administrative of the Proceedings, active liaison between the Office of the Commission. 2015 Office of the International Affairs of the Office of the International Responsible for the Negotiation and Implementation Commission of the Bilateral Multilateral Agreement to understanding with the Foreign Financial with the Regulatory Authority, the Office of the International Affairs Coordinate, participate, actively relating with the Commission International Cooperation Program, develops and initiate the enhance the Commission and the ability to enforce the federal security of the laws and many of the international elements. The Office of the International Affairs of the End facilitates after the Commission of the Division Office of the Reform of the International develops the legislative of the rulemaking other initiative related with the international security market. Office of International Affairs facility with develops a with the appropriate provided advice of the presentation present with the Commission with the position with the leading international initiative of the other U.S. government and departments of the agency, the effect of the regulating security of the market with the Office of International Affairs with the plans coordinate, participate in the Commission meeting with the foreign financial regulatory authorities. 216 with the reserves, 216A the Inspector General. Under the Inspector General Act of 1978 with the amended Inspector General will perform with the independent objective investigation all of the related with the Commission and the program and the operation with the investigation, see with the detect with the prevent waste fraud of the beef convention program operation, such violation federal statute, regulation by contract with the commission will employ with the chairman with the ethical conduct with the employee with the executive branch as all of the determined role of the program, goal of the result of the identified with the enabling legislation, achieve the resource of the efficiently economically use the managed financial operation properly conducted, financial reports fairly presented, the applicable laws regulation complied with. In cooperation with the Commission Management, the Inspector General generally promotes economic efficiency, effectiveness, ways of fraud with the detection and prevention of the Commission program operation. The Inspector General will also keep the Congress over the Commission with the inform of the problem of the deficiency of the Commission program and operation. Inspector General reports to the Commission with the independent all of the other Commission management. In addition, with the Inspector General independently prepares semi-annual reports to the Congress with the reserve of the misconduct with the Commission and the employee of the contractor. Inspector General, the author, after consultation, ethic counsel with the appropriate serves of the Commission and the liaison with the Federal Office of Investigation Agent with the Department of Justice with the Executive Council and Integrity, Efficiency, Subpoena with the cause for the audit investigation conduct with the Office of the Inspector should be affected. Any method of the prescribed in Statute 201, 232A and C with this chapter 2017 is reserved. 218, Director of Division Corporation, finding with the Director of the Division Incorporated, finding with the responsible for the Commission of the Ministry of all of the matters except for the pertaining to the investment company registered under the Investment Company Act of 1940, with the relating to establish requiring adherence standards of the business, the financial disclosure with respect, securities being offered with the public sale of the pursuant of the registration requirement of the Security Act of 1932, with the other exemption with the therefore one of the re-established with the required adherence of the same with the reporting with disclosure for the security trade, national security agencies, exchange with the leave of the register of the pursuant of the Section 12G with the Security Exchange Act of 1934, Title 15, U.S. Standard Code 78G with the refer with the security, the issue with the required follow the report pursuant with the Section 15D with the Act of the Title 15, United States Code 78CD with the establishing requirement of the hearing of the disclosure proceed with the same with the solicitation proxy with election direct with corporate action establishing requiring adherence with the same with the disclosure respect with the filing statement of the filing of the statements with respect with the beneficial ownership of the transaction statement of pursuant with Section 13D E and G Title 15 United States Code 78MD 78ME 78MG with the Security Exchange Act of 1934 administrative with the disclosure with the evidence of the same for the provision of Williams Act with the relating with the trading officer with the insurer with the adherence with the enforcement statement with the set forth with the trust and indenture act of 1939 with regarding the indenture with the covering debt security with the duty with the shall include with the exemption with the enforcement related act with the jurisdiction Vision enforcement responsibility with the Commission with the Ministry of the disclosure requirement of the provision of Security Act of 1933, Security Exchange Act of 1934, the Trust and Indenture Act of 1939 as listed below. All matters under the Security Act of 1933 include the examination of the material with the file pursuant to the requirement of the Act, except for the material with the file with the investment company registered with the investment company Act of 1904 with the interpretation provision Security Act of the 1930 proposed with the Commission with the rules under the Act of all the matters with the investment company to the register with the investment company Act of 1904 with the Rising Security Exchange Act of 1934 with the connection with the registration security with the pursuant of the Section 12 of the Act include with the exempt with the provision of Section 12H with the examination process with the periodic report with the file pursuant with the Section 13 and 15D with the Act, examination process with the proxy, solicitation material file pursuant with the 14A with the information statement of the file pursuant with the Title 14C with the Act, with the examination process statement of relating with the beneficial ownership of the transaction statement of the tender offer with the statement of the file with the pursuant with the Section 13D E and G with the 14D E F and G with the Security Exchange with the 1934. And the administration of the protective regime with the provision, interpretation foregone with the provision of the Act as well as Section 16 thereof, the proposing the rules under the portion of the Act of the Commission, all of the matters except for the pertaining the investment company with the registered with the Investment Company Act of 1904 with the Rising Trust Indenture Act of 1939. 219A with the Director of the Division of the Trading Market with the Director of the Division Trading Market with the Reform with the Commission with the Ministry of the Act with the Commission Program with the Security Exchange with the 1934 with the Lending Stroke with the Operations Security with the Market with the Preventive with the Manipulation with the Security Market of the Responsibility include oversight of the National Market System of the National Claim for the Settlement System of the Self Regulatory Organization National Security Exchange with the Register of the Security Associate with the Clearing Agency of the Municipal Security with the Rulemaking Board with the Security Investment Protection Corporation. In addition, with the responsibility include with the Ministry of the Commission with the rules related to supervise with the investment banking hold with the company with the ultimate holding company with the broker with the dealer with the communicate view with the deduction with the market with the credit risk with the pursuing with the title statute 240-15C with the 3-1 through E with the chapter with the supervision with the clues with the assessment with internal risk management control with the mathematical model with the view with the calculate with the net capital loans with the market with the credit with the operation residue with these include with the registry with the regulation with the broker with the dealer with the municipal security with the dealers with the government security with the broker with the dealer with the transfer agent with the security with the information profit the function with involved with the regulating such agent include with the reviewing proposed with the rule change with the self with the regulatory organization recommendation adoption amendment of the commission with the respondent into the interpretive with the exemptive with the non-active with the request with the conduct with the inspection with the examination market surveillance of the addition with the director shall with the duty specified with the low with the administrative with the manager with the rising with the Security Exchange with Act 1934 except with the examination process with the application registration for the security with the National Security Exchange Act pursuant with Section 12 with the Act, the examination process with the period with the reports filed with the pursuant Section 13-15D with the Act, examination process with the proxy solicitation material with the pursuant with the regulation adopted under Section 14A with the Act, with the examination process with the ownership of the report with the files and with the 16A with the Act, the denial, suspension, registration, security register with the National Security with the Exchange with the pursuant with the 19EA2 by reason of failure to comply with the report requirement of the Act of enforcement with the activity jurisdiction of the division enforcement with the director of the division with enforcement the director of the division enforcement with the response for the commission when the supervisor with the conduct of the enforcement activity over the act of the administrator with the commission with the director of the recommended institution with the administrator with the injunction of the act of the rising over the type of the enforcement activity to determine the situation with the evidence support with the allegation with the proposal with the complaint with the director of the supervisor with the regional with the director of the collaboration Corporation, General Counsel of the Review Case with the recommended with the Department of Justice with the Criminal Prosecutor with the Director with the Grant, denied with the access to with the Non-Public Information Commission with the enforcement of the files under 24024C1 of the chapter provided with the action with the sections of the grant under the concurrent with the head of the division of the office of the responsible for the information files contained. 219C with the division of the director of the division of the examination of the division of the examination responsible for the complaint with the investigation examination relating to the regulatory exchange with the national security of the association clearing house with the security information process with the multi-security rulemaking procedure for the broker dealer's mutual security exchange with the mutual of the drive of the security base swap of the data of the repository of the security base swap of the deal with the dimension of the security base swap participants transfer agent of the investment company investment advisor under section 13 and 2 with the 15B with the 15C with the D1 15F and 17B of the Security Exchange of the 1934 section of the Investment Company 1940, section 204 of the Investment Advisory Act of 1940, 219D with the Director of the Office of the Municipal Security, with the Director of the Office of Municipal Security, with the Responsible for the Commissioner of the Minister of the Execution Commission of the Program Security Exchange with Act 1934, with the relating for the Registry of the Regulation of the Municipal Advisor, Director of the Municipal Security Program with the Dealer for the Oversight of the Municipal Security, with the Rulemaking Board with the function include with the involved with the recommended with the adoption with the amendment of the Commission rule with the reviewing proposal with the rule change of the Municipal Security with the Rulemaking Board with the reform with the interpreted no action request. Her director, officer with the credit rating, with the officer with the credit rating, responsible for the commission, with the minister of the action, with the commission, with the program security exchange, with the 1934, with the lady, with the registry, with the regulatory, with the national, with the recognized statistic, with the rating, organization, function, with the involved, with the regulation, associated with the include, with the compliant, with the inspection, with the examination, recommended, adoption, amendment, with the commission rule, with the reform, with the interpretive, with the no action, with the request. 220A, reserve, with the 220B, with the director, with the division, investment management. Director of the Division Management, Investment Management, with the responsible for the Commission, with the Dimension of the Commission, with the responsible for the Investment Company Act of 1940, with the Advisory Investment Advisory Act of 1940, with the responsible for the Bank, with the Protection of the Investment Company, with the Register for the Investment Company Act of 1940, with the pool of the investment fund, with the account, with the administrator, with all of the manner, with the relating to a sale, with the requirement to hear, with the training, with the economic, with the financial reporting, administrator, with the period of disclosure related to manner, with the Security Exchange Act of 1933, Security Exchange Act of 1934, with the enforcement scheme, with set forth, with the trust, the indenture, with the 1939, with the regarding the indenture, with the covering, with the desk, with the listing with the paragraph A through E with the section. These include with the inspection with the connection with the administrative with the trails, with the enforcement related with the activity jurisdiction with the division with the enforcement with the administrative with all of the manager with the investment company act with the 1940 with the except for the arrived under section 30H. Of the Act, all of the management of the Security Act of 1930 with the arrive with the protect with the material with the field with the pursuit with the ground with the Act with the Investment Company Register with the Investment Company Act of 1940 with the Investment Fund with the account with all of the manager arrive with the Security Exchange Act of 1934 with the examination proper the statement the beneficial ownership of the Security Exchange such ownership filed under section 16A over the such act with the protect with the investment with the company register with the Investment Company Act of 1940 with the pool of investment funds with the action hounds with the connection with registration security with the pursuit of section 12 of the Act included with the exempt of the provision in section 12H, examination profit the periodic reports filed with the pursuant of section 1315 with the G with the Act of the examination profit the process, solicitation of the material with the file with the pursuant with the 14A with the information material file with the pursuant with the 14C with the Act. All managed with the pertaining with the investment company with the register with the investment company act with the 1940 with the pool's investment funds with the account with the arising under the trust and indenture act with the 1939 with all of the matters arising under the investment advisory act with the 1940. The general counsel to 2021 with the general counsel with the chief legal officer come to the mission with the general counsel responsible for the representation of the mission judicial proceeding which was involved with the party with the amicia with the Korea directing with the supervising over the litigation involving the commission with the United States with the district court with the accepted law enforcement action filed with the behalf of the commission with the directing and supervising with the commission with the bankruptcy court with the related litigation with the representative of the Danish commission or close to appeal with the aided court with the general counsel with the review case with the division of enforcement recommended with the Department of Justice with the recommendation criminal prosecutor with the judicial with the general counsel with the advising with the commission as to with the request of the request with the civil the division director with the officer with the head with the general counsel with the own motion with the referral with the interpretation involved with the question with the law with the conduct with the administration with the proceed with the disqualification of the lawyers practice with the for with the commission by the conduct with the primary preliminary investigation described in the section 17 CFR 202 5A with the potential violation of 17 CFR 201-102 with the E with the attorney for the preparation of the commission with the comments for the concord with the pending legislation with the drafting with the conjunction with the appropriate division also with the legislature with the proposal with the response with the commission with the general counsel with the providing advice to the commission with the attorney professional responsible for the issue with the leading official with the duty with the general counsel with the further responsible for the investigation allegation professional misconduct with the commission staff with the appropriate to make a referral with the state with the professional board with the society General Counsel responsible for the review of the clearance of the form of the content of the article of the treaties, prepared speech of the address of the members of the staff of the belief of the commission, the statute of the rule of the ministry of the commission of the General Counsel, office of responsible for the coordinator of the review of the interpreter of the position of the various the degree, vision and authorization of the General Counsel for the purpose of the responsible for the purpose of the disposition, created information of the privacy of the appeal of the pursuit of the authority delegated in 230 for the war team of the commission and for the respect with legal problems arising, for the Freedom of Information Act, Privacy Act, Federal Report Act, and Federal Advisory Committee Act with the Civil Service Laws, Regulations, Statute with the rules applicable to the Commission, procurement of the contracting officially rules related to administrative the activity of the statute with the regulations, similar to the nature of the applicable to the number of the government agency, with the General Counsel responsible for the assisting with the members of the Commission with the preparation of the opinion of the Commission with the preparation of the opinion with the decision of the motion with the certification question, rulings by the administrative law, of the court of the administrative law proceedings, in case of the pursuit of the waiver of the party with the separation function of the requirement of the division office of the Commission with the staff to undertake with the prepare with the open the decision in which General Counsel of the may assist us with the preparation and with the respect of the ministry of the proceed with it against the lawyers on with the 201-102 with the E with this chapter of the Commission rules of practice with the other cases of the chairman and General Counsel that determine the separation function of the requirement of the other circumstances would in or appropriate for the exercise of the function of General Counsel. General Counsel of the deals with General Problem for the right of the Administrative of the Procedure Act and with the provision of adopting the rules problem for the General Counsel, the responsible for the extra of the review function of the responsible for the conjunction of the matter of the delegate with the General Counsel of the Commission pursuant with the 100 statute with 1254, where it's otherwise delegated to some of the General Counsel for the General Counsel responsible for the Commission of the Ministry of the Government Sunshine Act with the publicly with the certified for the pursuant with the 200-406 of the General with the Counsel with opinion, particularly the Commission and the need with the properly be called with the public with the absent with the General Counsel, the solicitor with the Commission with the team with the General Counsel for the purpose of 200-406 with the absent with the General Counsel, the solicitor with the most senior with the Attorney General with the Counsel, the dean with the General Counsel for the purpose of 200-450 absent with the General Counsel, the solicitor with every associate with the General Counsel, the team with the assistant with the General Counsel, available with the dean with the General Counsel for the purpose of 200-406 with the General Counsel, the solicitor with every associate with the General Counsel, with the General Counsel for the staff, the attorney with the General Counsel may designate in such order to succession General Counsel directs, picture of the responsible for the 200-406 with the ethics of the Counsel for the ethics counsel, the responsible for the ministry with the Commission with the ethics programs for the interpretations of Part M of the part, Title 5 CFR Part 22630, proper the ethic of the Council with the Commission with the ethical with the conflict with the intern arrest question of the Commission liaison for the matter of the Office of the Human Rights Resource for the Office of the Government F, the Office of the Inspector General, the Department of Justice, the Property with the subject of the authority with the consult with the Inspector General, the ethic with the Council with the alleged violation of the subchat parts C, F, and M of this part with the Title 5 CFR Part 2630, proper the ethics council retrieve with the allegation of the misconduct of the Commission with the employee with the relay with the Commission with the ethics program and relating manager with the involved with the management, the question with the division with the director with the officer with the head with the regional with the director with the manager with the involved with the alleged apparent of the employee with the misconduct office and Inspector General with the except with the manager with the involved with the alleged professional with the misconduct with the ultimate referable with the state with the professional board with the society with the ethics with the council with the referral with the General Counsel for a complaint with the peer with the involved with the violation of federal criminal statute with the denial with the peer with the frivolous with the Inspector General with the referral with the Department of Justice with the Internal 28 U.S. Code 535 active liaison office of Inspector General with the man for the ethic with the council with the referred to the office of the state local authority with the man for the occasion with the ethics council may refer them to the range for the review with the parole with the publication prepared speeches on 273.5 with the for E with the provided by with the cancellation interpretation with the respect with the subpart C and F stem with the part with the Title 5 CFR Part 2635 draft rules regulation and necessary with the implement the commission ethics with the chief of the count with the chief of the count with the commission with the principal divide with the commission on with the responsible with the commission with the fair all of the accounting with all the auditing man with the right with the administrative with the Federal Security Act security law with the chief of the county with the overseer with the account with the professor with the senior chef with the staff with the regulatory organization developed supervisor with the development with the accounting with the auditing with the rules regulation opinion with the policy interpret commission's accounting policy and the position with the chief of the county with the role with the recommendation institution administrator with the disciplinary for the chief with the relief with the disqualification account president of the board with the commission with the chief of the county with the supervisor with the procedure with the file with the commission with the enforcement activities involved with the accounting with the auditing issue with the health with the result of the difference with the accounting issue with the between the registrar and the commission staff 223A with the director of the division of economic risk and the chief of the analysis with the director of the division of economic risk and analysis with the chief of the economics with the economic with the drive with the commission with the staff with the responsible with the commission with the staff with the economic with the analysis market event with the condition with the economic analysis support with the commission with the rulemaking economic risk analysis with the informed support with the commission with enforcement action with the examination program develop financial with the market the data with the analysis with the preparation economics data with the promotion with the task with the review with the guidance with the staff with the reach with the publication with the assertion Says assisting with the Commission with the staff of the Reform of the Policy Legislative with the international issue with the relief of the security market with the 223B Reserve, 224 Office of the Financial Management, Office of the Director and Chief of the Financial Officer of the Reform with the Chief of the Operating Officer of the Chairman of the Commission with the Internal of the Financial Management Program and Function with the Security Exchange Commission. The function include the budget, accounting, with the payroll, with the Minister of the Audit, Chief of the Financial Officer, Chief of the Financial Officer, Destiny, with the liaison with the Commission with the before with the Office of Management, Budget, Congressional and Operation Committee with the appropriation matter with the Treasurer, the Department General, with the Accounting Office of Financial, with the Program General Programming Matters. 224 with the Director of the Office of the Investor, Education Advocacy with the Director of the Office of the Investor, with the Education Advocacy, responsible for the Chairman of the Commission for the Investor, with the Educate for the Investor, assisting the program with the program include with the not limited to the two of the Education Investor, with the info for the outreach, with the digital social media, with the communication channel, with the include with the Commission, with the website, with the individual investor, with the investor.gov, with the preparing, with the distributing public education content, with the describing the operation, security market, with the developing strategy, with the prudent investor behavior, with the increase of the public knowledge of the function of the Commission, with the implementation of the administrative of the national-wide system, with the result of the Investor Commission against the individuals and with the regulated with the Commission process, with the complaint, with the receipt, with the individual investors, seek with the ensure with the regulated individual at any process of the performance of such complaints. Providing information investor with the other with the inquiry with the individual and the regulator with the Commission with the operator with the security market with the function with the Commission with the advisory with the Commission with the staff with the exchange with the information with the domestic with the international with the regulator with the regulator organization with the problem frequently encounter with the investor with the possible solutions to with them transmitting other often with the division with the Commission with the information provided with the investor with the control with the wrongful with the solve with the dimension with the provide with the greater investment input with the Commission rulemaking proceeding 225 with the 25 to 26 reserve with the 226A with the officer with the information with the technology of the information with the technology with the reform with the annual the design with the program operation mainly with the all of the agency information system developing the implementation long range technology planning program with the coordinator all of the information system the analyst with the activity to consider with the carried out with the other division author with the furnishing with the top of the organization appropriate assistance support for any technical advice with the staff of the correction with the connection with the developer with the commission with the rules regulations technology implication provide with the expert advice with the commission surveillance with the technology with the security exchange with the interest with the value with the recommended with the new technology concept with the capability application within the commission with the developing technology automation capability support with the commission with the regulator with the region with the director with each of the region with the director is from with the execute with the commission with the program with the region with the director geographic region set forth in statute 211B with the subject with the review with the enforcement material with the director with the deputy with the director with the division with the enforcement examination matter with the director with the division examination superintendent policy with the direction with the review with the division with the director with the general counsel with the chief of the county with the region with the director with the review with the reform with the include with the particularly investigation transactions with the national security exchange over the counter market with the distribution and public examination amended with the national security exchange with the registered broker with the deal with the transfer agent with the investment the with the investment company with include with the examination report filed in 240-1785 of the chapter prosecution involved with the action with the U.S. District Court. Alright, regional directors, testing levels. Regional director with the response for the HQ with the computer with the regional director, the geographic with the 211 with the with the staff with the review, force manager with the director with the deputy with the division with the informed with the examination with the director with the division with the examination stuff with the policy with the director with the other division director with the general counsel with the chief of the count and with the general with the director responsible for the include with the particular investigation the transaction with the national security exchange with the over the counter market with the distribution public examination made with the national security exchange with the register of the broker the deal with the transfer agent individual of the investment company with the include with the examination of the report of 247-85 with the chapter of the prosecution injunction with the U with the district court with the ministry with the proceed with the before with the ministry of the law judge with the remedy with the city with the U.S. attorney criminal case with the make with the commission with the with the more readily available to the public area with the edition with the region with the director with the New York region with the office with the response with the commission with the participation with the case with the chapter 9 and 11 over the bankruptcy code with the Connecticut with the Michigan Massachusetts with the New Hampshire with the New Jersey with the New York Pennsylvania Rhode Island Vermont with the region with the director of the Atlantic region office with the response with the participation in Alabama Delaware District Court with the Columbia with the Florida Georgia Louisiana Maryland Mississippi with the North Carolina Puerto Rico South Carolina with the Tennessee with the Virgin Islands Virginia West Virginia regional director with the chief of the region with the office with the response participation in Arkansas with Colorado Illinois Indiana with the Iowa with the Kansas with the Kentucky with the Michigan with the Minnesota with the Missouri Nebraska with the New Mexico with the North Dakota with the Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, Wisconsin, with Wyoming with the region with the director of Los Angeles regional office with the report with the South British Alaska, Arizona, California, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho with the Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. Issue with an instruction with whether the sphere with the responsibility with the Air Force, so forth, the division, also with the head of the region with the director may issue itself with the definite with the instruction with the main necessary with the pursuing the section. Will existing proceed with the authorization with the section content instruction with the due with effect with the utility unless with the modified with the defendant instruction issue pursuant to the paragraph 229 of the rules. The individual operating division shall have the initial of the reform of the proposed amendment of the existing rules and new rules under section with the provision with the jurisdiction with the particular division with any of the proposal with the president with the legal power with the mayor with the first and principal with the develop with the mayor with the enforcement power with the question with the develop with the judge with the ministry with the commission with the mayor in effect with the prejudicial with the president pending litigation submission with the proposal for the mayor of the office with the general counsel with the opinion with the preparation with the material with the commission matter of the commission delegation added for the authority of the director of the division corporation finding with the purpose of the section 4A 4B with the security exchange act of 1934 with the amendment of the security exchange act with the community with the delegate with the commission or with the other way of the following function director division corporate finally with the performer with the director of divisions of first and purpose of maybe the designated with the time to time with the chairman over the commission with the report with the registry with the security with the exchange pursuant to the security exchange act with 1934 regulation 3 C and there under with the determined effect of the date with the amendment of the registration statement of the file pursuant with the section 8 with the C with the ask with the consent with the withdrawal with the registration statement of the amendment is the exhibit is there too with the pursuant with the rule 477 with the issue with the order with the declaring registration statement of the band with the pursuant with the rule 479 grant application for the confidential treatment of the contract with the provision pursuant with the 23406 with the chapter of the act with the issue with the order with the schedule with the hearing such with the applicant with the end with the denial such applications in which with the application with the applicant with the right to hearing with the provide such application provides the applicant the right to such with the denial with the review with the commission solely with the publication summary with the perspective with the file with the commission with the pursuant section 10B with the act with the rule 431G over there under with the take of the following action pursuant to section 8A of the act with the determine the regulate registration statement with the effect of the short period of the time and low 20 days after the filing thereof. You consent filing and then with the effect of the date with the registration statement with the part with the determinant with the amendment with the file with the prior effect with the date with the registry with the statement with the pursuant with the order with the commission with the registry with the registry with the statement with the pursuant with the action with the section 8A with the act with the determinant with the effect with the application qualification trust with the indenture file with the registration statement with the pursuant with the instruct with the financial statement with the contained with the form with the adopted with the under of the act with the permanent with the initial with the one with the more financial statement with the required with the filing with the substitution with the with the appropriate statement with the comparable check character with the requirement of the filing over the other financial statement with additional substantial with the asset statements with the recover the action with the person with the section 4A3 with the act with the under with the reduce for the 40-day period with the 90-day period refer with the transact with the refer for the subsection 4A3B with the act with the to go with the application with the deny with the written consent with the express with the pursuant with the rule 437 determined with the object with the pursuant with the rule 401 G1 over the notify with the issue with the pursuant with the 401 G2 with the of the objection with the use of the automatic shelf with registration with defined in 405 with the post effective with the amendment there become with the immediately effective with the rule 460 with the authorized granting of the denial application with the shown with a good cause with the not necessary circumstance with the issue with the consider the eligible issue with the defined rule 405. With respect to security exchange with the 1933 with the regulation A with the under the author with the granting an application for the rule 262 with the upon with the shown with the good cause with the not necessary with the circumstance exemption with the regulation with the A, the B, the 9, determine the date with the time of the qualification with the offering with the statement and then with the offering statement with the rule with them 252E with the consent with the withdrawal with the official statement with the declare with the officer with the statement and banned with the pursuant with the rule 259 form 1Z with the following pursuant with the 257 with the security exchange with the 1903 with the regulation D with the under with the author with the granting application with the 234.05B3 and the 235.06 with the D2 with the 235.07 and B with the chapter with the U with the shown with the good call with the not necessary circumstance with the extent with the regulation D with the 2 with the respect with the 1930 with the 227 with the 100 to 227 with the 503 with the chapter with the author with the grant with the application with the 227 with the 503 with the B2 with the chapter with the shown with the good call with the not necessary circumstance with the exemption with the ground regulation crowd fund with the divine with the denial with the refer with the trust the denture with the act of 1939 with the determinant with the prior with the 20 of the day with the filing with the application qualification denture with the form with D3 with the pursuant with the section rule 7 and A with the under with the authorized issue with the code order of the exemption with the security act with the under with the section 304 C with the D with the arrow with the N77 with the D with 264C1 and 264D7 over the chapter and this give the opportunity to deal with the way with the author of the issue with the order of the determinant with the trustee with the indenture with the qualified with another indenture with the not necessarily material conflict of interest to make it necessary to disqualify the trustee with the pursuant of the section section 310 with the B212 over the act with the rule 10B2 with the under authorized issue with the order with the exemption with the person for the registration, same with the dent with the security with the transaction, only call with the class with the person for the registration, same with the dent with the security with the transaction with the crime with the one more with the provision of the act with the pursuit with the 340G over the act and rule 4D, see with the there under with the determinative with the effect with the prior with the 10 day with the after fund with the applicant with the determinant eligibility of section 310A with the act with the person, designated with the trustee with the delay with the offering with the debt, secure with the security exchange with that pursuant with 305 with the GB2 with the act with the rule 5B1 over there under with the authorized with the issuance of the order permitting with the foreign person with the act with the sole trustee with the disqualified indents with the under section 310 of the act with the 260 with the 10A with the 1 through with the 260 10A5 with the chapter with the issue with the notice with the application with the authorized with the order of the granting of staying with the trustee with the duty with the resign with the pursuant with the 310B with the act of the rule 10B4 with the there under with the security exchange with the 1934 with the term effective with the application for the registration secure with the national security exchange prior to the 30 days after the receipt of the certification pursuant with the 12D with the act with the pursuant with the instruction of the financial statement that contain with the forms with the adopted with the extent of the filing with the permit admission with the one more financial statement with the required following substitution of the with the purpose statement the comparable trap with the receipt of the file with the other financial statement in addition with the substitution statement with the require with the grant with the denial application confidential treatment of pursuant with the 224B with the act rule 24B2 with the end with the revoke with the grant such application confidential treatment the authorized with the use of the form of the proxy statement with the solicitation man with the period of the time list with the prescribed with the 240 14A 6 with the 240 14AD 8J1 of the chapter off with the following information statement with the period with the last time with the list with the prescribed with the 241 4C 5A with the chapter with the author with the following information with the statute 240 14F1 of the chapter period with the time and list with the prescribed with the area with the grant with the denial of the application with the provision with the 12G1 of the act exchange with the time with the file with the registration receipt with the section with the provide with the applicant and provide with the applicant right to the evidence with the denial with the review with the commission with the accelerated with the recovery with the issue with the effect with the date with the registration file with the pursuant with the section 12G of the act with the issue with the notice of application for the exemption with the grant exemption with the under the 12H of the act at the request of the issue of accelerated determination registry for the class of the equity secure with the provided in 12G4 of the act with the as with the provided in 240 12G4A of the chapter with the upon with the receipt with the notification secretary with the chair with the designated secure with the exemption for with the 30A 12 with the U with the public release and announcing such with the designation with the issue with the public release of the foreign issue with the will here with the current and submitted with the information set with the rule 12G with the E2 with the grant exemption with the rule 14D10 with the person with the 14D10F with the grant with the exemption with the 240 14B2B and 240 14B2C with the both of the chap with the determined the referral with the tender exchange with the otherwise with the eligible with the 13E with the 4G with the rule 14D1B of whether with the light with the exemption with the other grant with the Canadian federal provision over the territory with the regulatory authority application certainly over the all of the provision in section 13E1 over the section 14D1 through 14D7 with the exchange act with the rule 13E4 with the regulation 14D with the schedule with the TO with the 14D9 with the under with the rule 14E1 with the regulation 14E such over the officer with the notice of the necessary with the purpose of public interest with the dimension with the provision with the private with the action with the time public information with the defined with the section with the provide only with the concurrent with the head of the commission with the division over the reasonable with the information probably contained with the stuff with the information means with the provision section 24D with the app with the grant exemption with the realm with the transfer with the provision with the section 13E with the 14D with the 14D7 over this act. And then a whole bunch of numbers with the tender of the officer for the provision 14E1, 14E, 14EF5 with the regulation with the pursuant section 36A with the act. If the request of foreign private issue with the pursuant with the 12H6 with the termination registry for the class of security under or to view either unconditionally bombs on stuff with the with the grain with the connection for the requirement of the 14.3A with the 14C with the A with the attack with the pursuit with the section of 36 with the F with the K with the upon the examination with the F doesn't for the dirty with the percent with the issue with the head with the draft with the read of the question over the back policy with the indicate with the public interest with the investor with the warrant of the commission with the control with the name of the applicant with the demonstrator with the with the crowd with the whole of the meeting with the holds of the result of the action with the take as one more with the significant secure with the security hold of the pursuing with the state law with the unable to comply with the requirements of 14A, 3B, and with the 14C, with the 3A, with the with the A, act with the audited financial statement, with the include with the annual with the security hold with the B, with the security hold with the connection with the security hold with the meeting with the crowd with the be able to resolve the security hold of the domain with the state of the law has made with a good effort of the firms for the adult of the financial statement of the holding security hold of the meeting has the determination of the security hold available to ensure the information of the security hold of the informal with the voting decision form of the regulation 14A or 14C and with the absent of the grant exemptive of the before for the violation of the state level of the rules regulation administrative of the commission with notwithstanding any of the foregoing missing matter arising with the Investment Company Act of 1940 with the Social Security Act of 1930 with the Security Exchange with the 1934 with the Trust Indenture Act of 1939 with the Presumed Investment Company with the Investment Company Act of 1940 with the scope of the function of the director of the devil gave the director of vision with the corporation finance consent with the underwriting with Section 30 of the Investment Company Act of 1940. He with the creative of the director of the division finance believe with the appropriate the director may submit the matter of the commission with the with the sunshine with the Security Act of 1930 with the Rule 701 there and with the authorized with the agreeing with the application of the Rule 703B function with the good job with the necessary with the circumstance with the exemption with the Rule 701 denied with respect to the Security Action with the 1933 with the Rule 144A with the take of the account with the existing with the market pack with the designated with the security with the class with the security with the security with the validity with the same class with the security with the National Security Exchange with the U.S. Automated Inter-Dealer Quotation System, the meeting with the Rule 14A with the D31, with the Reserve of the Security Exchange Act 1932 with the regulation as they are under the consultation with the Director of Aviation Trade with the market with the designated with the foreign security with the exchange with the non-exchange market with the designated with the offshore with the security market with the meeting with Rule 902A. With the Security Act of 1930 with the Security Exchange with the 1930 with the Trust and Indenture with the Act 1939 with the R regulation ST with the grant denied with the request submitted with the Rules 13B with the Rule regulation SNT with the death with the following date with the electronic filing with respect to the Security Exchange with the Security Exchange Act with the 1930 with the Trust and Indenture Act 1939 with the regulation ST with the end of the consent with the terms of the grant denied with the property continuing with the hardship of the exemption with the rule pursuant with the Rule 202 with the Rules regulation ST with the electronic submission with the requirements Rule regulation SNT. Respect with the 104A, 104.1.2A Sarbanes Oxley Act with 2002 with identified with the covered issue with the term defined with the section 104A1. 104.1.1A Subsordian Oxy Act with the 2002 with the retained with the registered public account with the issue with the audit report with the registered public account with the branch office located foreign jurisdiction with the public company account with the oversight of the board with the term with the unable to do inspect with the investigate with the company recover the position take with the authority with the foreign jurisdiction. Alright, we'll cut the tape there.